Hey guys, thanks for checking my channel again and I hope you are all doing great. So today in our Apache Kafka series, we are going to see what is SASL authentication and then what is meant by authorization in Apache Kafka. Also, we are going to see how to implement these two concepts practically in your Kafka cluster. So before you proceed to this video, I would highly recommend you to have a SSL configured Kafka cluster running inside your local machine or somewhere inside a cloud system. Also, it would be really great if you have an understanding about certain basic concepts like what is security in Apache Kafka and also why we need security in Apache Kafka, and then what is SSL and how SSL works in Apache Kafka. You might now ask, since we are going to talk about SASL authentication, why we need to know about SSL? Of course, you can implement SASL authentication without even using SSL, but that is not recommended in a production system. That is the reason why I am trying to insist you guys to know about SSL before proceeding to this video. In case if you don't have an understanding about security in Apache Kafka or how SSL works in Apache Kafka, or if you don't have an idea about how to configure your Kafka cluster with SSL, then please watch the third and fourth part of my Apache Kafka series. In the third part, I explained about security and also about SSL. In the fourth part, I have provided a practical example of how to implement SSL configuration inside your Kafka cluster. So I have provided the links for those two parts in the description of this video. So today we are going to see first why SASL authentication is needed in Apache Kafka, then what is actually meant by SASL authentication, then we are going to see where I am going to implement SASL authentication inside my Kafka architecture, and then what is authorization in Apache Kafka. Finally, we are also going to see how to implement these concepts practically in your Kafka cluster. First, we are going to see why SASL authentication is needed in Apache Kafka. As far as Kafka is concerned, we can categorize security in three different sections: encryption, authentication, and then authorization. So in the last part, we implemented encryption and authentication by means of SSL. That is, we implemented encryption by means of a security protocol called TLS version 1.2. And then we implemented authentication by means of a mechanism called two-way SSL authentication. For example, if there is a producer making a connection request to Kafka, then first the Kafka brokers will authenticate themselves to the producer by means of SSL, and then the producer will authenticate itself to the Kafka by means of SSL. So this is actually two-way SSL authentication. Since we already have the two-way SSL authentication in place, then what is the purpose of SASL authentication? The main purpose of SASL authentication is to simplify the authentication process from a client side. Imagine there is a Kafka user who is running his producer application on one machine. Now, for some purpose, this user has to transfer his producer application to another machine. Then, in this case, the user also need to configure his SSL certificates according to the new machine. This is one example why SSL authentication could be really tricky from a client side, since it requires managing the SSL certificates also. So in order to simplify this authentication process from a client side, we are going to replace the SSL client side authentication by means of SASL authentication. So once we have SASL authentication in place, the Kafka clients like a producer or a consumer can easily perform their authentication by simple mechanisms like a username password or OAuth token. Now let us see what is actually SASL authentication on a very high level. SASL stands for Simple Authentication and Security Layer. It is actually a framework used for implementing authentication mechanisms in Internet protocols. As far as Apache Kafka is concerned, it supports a number of SASL authentication mechanisms. For example, Generic Security Services Application Program Interface, OAuth bearer, SCRAM, plain, and delegation tokens. I am not going to discuss about all these SASL authentication mechanisms in this video. I am going to use SCRAM for the SASL implementation. So we are going to check only about SCRAM in this video. Now let us see what is SASL SCRAM mechanism again on a very high level. SCRAM stands for Salted Challenge Response Authentication Mechanism. So how this mechanism actually works? Imagine there is a client making a connection request to the server. So in order to verify its identity, the client, instead of sending its password or secret directly to the server, it computes an hash value based on its password and then sends this hash value to the server. Now the server will verify whether this hash value belongs to the password of the client. So once this verification is done, then the server will accept the connection request from the client. So this is how SCRAM mechanism works. In order to compute this hash value, Kafka supports two hash functions, SHA-256 and SHA-512. So for our implementation, we are going to use SHA-512. In case if you don't have an idea about how SCRAM mechanism works and how these hash functions works internally, you absolutely don't have to worry about that, because for using Kafka, it is already enough if you have a high level understanding about these concepts in general. However, if you are still interested to know how SHA-512 works internally, I have provided a link in the description of this video. Please check it out. So as far as Kafka is concerned, all the SASL SCRAM credentials, that is the username and password, are stored inside the zookeeper. Now I am going to give a brief overview of how the authentication looks in my Kafka architecture. The first one is zookeeper authentication. Imagine we have a zookeeper and then we have a number of zookeeper clients. For example, Kafka brokers, zookeeper shell, Kafka ACL, and so on. Now, when these zookeeper clients makes a connection request to the zookeeper, how the authentication between these two components will happen. So, I am going to stick with the two-way SSL authentication that I implemented between these two components in the last part of the series. You can of course implement SASL authentication in this area. However, it is not necessary. This is because most of these zookeeper client applications will be used only by the Kafka admins and not by the Kafka users. Hence, it is better to leave this part as it is. That is, I am not going to make any change to the zookeeper authentication and I am going to leave it as it was implemented in the last part. The next one is Kafka authentication or broker authentication. Imagine we have a Kafka broker and then we have a Kafka client. For example, producers, consumers, and other Kafka brokers. Now, when these Kafka clients makes a connection request to the Kafka broker, first the broker will authenticate itself by means of SSL authentication. Then these Kafka clients will use SASL authentication for their authentication purpose. Hence, we are not going to use two-way SSL authentication anymore. Instead of that, we are going to use only one-way SSL authentication. That is, only the broker will be using SSL authentication for authenticating its identity, whereas the Kafka clients will be using SASL authentication, that is, the username and password for their authentication purpose. Hence, the security protocol that we are going to use for Kafka authentication will no longer be SSL. Instead, it is going to be SASL_SSL. However, if you don't want to use SSL at all, you can use SASL_plain text. That is, the Kafka clients will be using SASL for authenticating to the broker, whereas the broker will not be used any kind of authentication mechanism, and also all the messages that is being transmitted between these two components will not be encrypted. They will be just plain text. Hence, this method is not recommended to use in production environments. Also, if you are going to use SASL_SSL, previously when we are using two-way SSL, we set the SSL.client.auth property inside the server configuration as required. That is, the client also need to use SSL while authenticating to the broker. Since we are going to use SASL authentication for the clients, we are going to replace this property by none. Okay. However, if you still set this SSL.client.auth is equal to required, it will not work since we have enabled SASL. So please remember this thing. Now we are going to see what is meant by authorization in Apache Kafka. Authorization is actually a technique that allows Kafka to check the scope of its client, that is a producer or a consumer. For example, whenever there is a producer trying to write to a topic, authorization enables Kafka to check whether this producer is allowed to write to this topic. Similarly, whenever a consumer is trying to read from a topic, authorization enables Kafka to check whether this consumer is allowed to read from this topic. Authorization can be set either on the level of an individual user or on the level of a group of users. As far as Kafka is concerned, we are going to implement authorization by means of a concept called ACL, that is Access Control List. We will see about all these things practically later in this video. So now we will see how to implement SASL authentication and also authorization in your Kafka cluster. So now on my machine, a 3-node Kafka cluster is running, and also this Kafka cluster is configured to use SSL, that is two-way SSL authentication. So if you want to check the status of your Kafka cluster, just type the command JPS, that is Java Virtual Process Status Tool. So you can see 3 Kafka brokers and a 𝐾𝐿 quorum is running. Alternatively, you can also check this using the 𝐾𝐿 shell application. So 𝐾𝐿 shell is actually a 𝐾𝐿 client application, which means it has to connect to the 𝐾𝐿. So our 𝐾𝐿 is running on localhost and on the port 2182. And our 𝐾𝐿 is also configured using SSL, which means any 𝐾𝐿 client, while connecting to the 𝐾𝐿, must supply its SSL properties to connect to the 𝐾𝐿. So our SSL related properties for the 𝐾𝐿 clients are stored inside this file, 𝐾𝐿 client properties. So I need to pass this file. So for this purpose, I need to pass a parameter called 𝐾𝐿 TLS config file. And then I need to pass the file 𝐾𝐿 client properties, 𝐾𝐿 client properties. So please remember, I am already inside this config folder path. That's the reason I'm passing the file name directly. So now my 𝐾𝐿 shell application is activated. So if you want to check what are the brokers that are connected to the 𝐾𝐿, you can simply type this command ls brokers IDs. So you can see 3 brokers, that is the broker with the ID 0, 1 and 2 are connected to the 𝐾𝐿. So I've already explained about this 𝐾𝐿 shell application and also how to configure the 𝐾𝐿 clients and also the 𝐾𝐿 itself for two-way SSL authentication in the last part of the series. So I'm not going to repeat this thing again. Also, as I said earlier, for 𝐾𝐿 authentication, we are not going to make any change. That is, we are going to stick with the two-way SSL authentication. So this means we are not going to make any changes to the 𝐾𝐿 properties file or the 𝐾𝐿 client properties file. So we are going to leave this part as it is. So as I mentioned earlier, we are going to implement the SASL authentication only for the Kafka brokers and also for the Kafka clients, that is the producers and the consumers. So for this purpose, first we need to stop all the brokers. So for stopping the brokers, you can execute the command Kafka server stop. So now my brokers will be stopped one by one. In order to implement SASL authentication for the Kafka brokers, we first need to generate a credential, that is a SASL credential, that is a SASL username and a password for the broker. Because whenever a broker is trying to connect to another broker, it supplies this SASL credential. Okay. Also, as I said earlier, all the SASL credentials will be stored inside the 𝐾𝐿. So we have to generate the SASL username and password by using the 𝐾𝐿 client called Kafka config application. So we have to generate Kafka we have to execute this application. So since this is a 𝐾𝐿 client application, it has to connect to the 𝐾𝐿 in the same way how we connected the 𝐾𝐿 shell application. That is, we need to use two-way SSL while connecting to the 𝐾𝐿. So we have to connect to the 𝐾𝐿, right? So for this purpose, we need to pass a parameter called 𝐾𝐿, and our 𝐾𝐿 is running on the local host and on the port 2182. Oh, I'm sorry, I pressed enter by mistake. So I'm just trying to execute it again. So we are connecting to the 𝐾𝐿 and we have to use two-way SSL while connecting to the 𝐾𝐿, right? So we need to pass the parameter 𝐾𝐿 TLS config file. Please remember, when we are, when we were using, when we were passing this parameter to the 𝐾𝐿 shell application, we passed this parameter with just one hyphen at the front. But for any other 𝐾𝐿 clients other than 𝐾𝐿 shell, whenever we are passing this parameter 𝐾𝐿 TLS config file, we need to pass with the two hyphens at the front. This is a Kafka internal implementation, so you have to stick with it. So we have to pass the file called 𝐾𝐿 client properties, but it's inside this config folder, right? So I'm just going to say config 𝐾𝐿 client properties, and then I need to create a username and password for the broker, right? So for this purpose, I need to pass a parameter called entity type. So there are a lot of entities, lot of entity types. So what we are going to create is a user. So we have to pass this value called users, and then for this user, that is, we are creating a user for the broker. So for this user, we have to create a user name. So we have to pass a parameter called entity name, and then let us call this username as broker admin, and then we have to create a password for this user. So for this purpose, we need to pass a parameter called alter add config. So a user may have like different types of different configurations, different number of configurations. So password is one such configuration. So we are going to generate a SCRAM password for our user, right? So we need to pass this value SCRAM, and this password is going to be generated using hash function called SHA-512, and then we need to pass the parameter called password. So then you need to choose a password. So let me say the password as DEM123. So please don't choose such a simple password for your production systems. So I'm just choosing this for my convenience. So let me say as DEM123. Okay, then close this stuff. So I'm going to execute this command. Oops. I'm sorry. It's Kafka configs.sh, and then cool. So now you can see that the user broker admin is created, and what you could notice here is user principal, because there are several types of principals like user, group, and so on. So what we have created is user, so that's why it's showing like user principal broker admin has been created. So what we did here is we actually used this Kafka configs 𝐄𝐿 client application and connected to the 𝐄𝐿. So since 𝐄𝐿 is using two-way SSL, we passed this 𝐄𝐿 client properties file using this parameter, and then we created a user, and then for this user we created a password, username broker admin, and then for this user name we created a SCRAM password using SHA-512 mechanism. And also you could notice one thing, some warnings like 𝐄𝐿 is deprecated and will be removed in a future version of Kafka, so we need to use bootstrap server instead. So why we have this warning here? Actually, in the Kafka ecosystem, an ongoing activity is being has been going on for a long time. That is to remove the 𝐄𝐿, and by replacing this 𝐄𝐿 by means of the Kafka brokers itself. That is, all the activities that is being taken care by the 𝐄𝐿 will be taken care by the Kafka brokers itself in future. So if you want to have more information on this thing, you can just go to Google and type KIP, that is Kafka Improvement Proposals 500. So you can see this ticket here. So you can see this thing, replace 𝐄𝐿 with a self-managed metadata quorum. That is, in future, there won't be any kind of external metadata management in Kafka by means of 𝐄𝐿. All the metadata management will be taken care by the Kafka brokers itself. However, this activity is not yet completed. I'm expecting it to go live by 2021. So that's the reason it says this warning, 𝐄𝐿 will be deprecated and will be removed in future. However, I already checked executing this Kafka configs by means of bootstrap server. It is still not working. So please ignore this warning and stick with how I executed this Kafka config application. And now we have the credential for the broker being created with the name broker admin. So now we will proceed to implement SASL authentication inside our brokers. So first I will check whether our brokers are stopped or not. So I'm just going to repeat the command ls brokers IDs. So you can see none of the brokers are showing here. Showing up here. So this means that all the brokers are stopped. So now in order to implement SASL for your brokers, you need to make some changes to these three properties files, and also add some new configurations, new properties to these files. So first I will start with the first broker. So currently all these three brokers are configured to use two-way SSL. So we have to change it. So first you can see some properties being added for connecting to the zookeeper, right? So please don't make any changes to these properties because we are still going to connect to the zookeeper by means of two-way SSL. So let us leave this section as it is. So we have to make some changes here. So first is security.inter.broker.protocol. So we have been using SSL, right? So we have to change it from SSL to SASL underscore SSL. This means whenever this broker is connecting to other brokers, it connects to them by supplying its SASL credential, and all the messages between this broker and other brokers will be encrypted using SSL, that is using this protocol TLS version 1.2. Okay, and the next property is ssl.client.auth. So we have to change it from required to none. This means whenever other brokers or whenever a Kafka client like a producer or a consumer is trying to connect to this broker, they will supply their SASL credential. So they will not supply their SSL credential anymore. So that's the reason we have to set it to none. In case if you forget to set it as none and leave it as it is like required, still this will not work, okay, because we are going to enable SASL, right? So this will not work. So in order to enable SASL on this broker, we need to change these two properties on listeners and advertised listeners as SASL underscore SSL. Similarly for the advertised listeners. This means whenever other Kafka brokers or whenever a producer or a consumer is trying to connect to this broker, they will connect by means of SASL credential, and all the communication between this broker and other brokers or this broker and Kafka clients like a producer or consumer will happen by means of SSL. So this is the changes that first we need to take care. And now we need to add some properties that are specific for SASL. So I'm going to type this as properties for SASL between the broker and its clients. So whenever I say broker client or Kafka client, this means other brokers and producers and consumers. Okay. So first is, since we are going to, since we have already enabled SASL on this broker, so we have to choose the SASL mechanism. So for this, we need to type a parameter called SASL.enabled.mechanisms. So this property means that the list of SASL mechanisms that we want to enable on this broker. So we have been using SCRAM SHA 512, right? So we are going to enable this mechanism for sure. In case if you want to include, enable additional mechanisms, you can just put them by a comma separated list. For example, 256. But I'm just going to stop with 512, okay? And then now we need to add a property called SASL dot mechanism dot inter dot broker dot protocol. So this means what is the mechanism that we are going to use for this broker while connecting to other brokers. So we have to use SCRAM SHA 512 because the credential, that is the broker admin credential that we generated for all the brokers are generated using this mechanism, right? So we have to put this thing, okay? Please remember, in this, for this parameter, we are going to put the list of mechanisms that we want to enable, but this particular parameter means the particular mechanism that among the list of mechanisms listed here that we are going to use while connecting to other brokers. I hope you understand the difference. So then now we have generated this, earlier we have generated this credential, right, for this broker. So now we have to pass this credential. So for passing this credential, we have to use a Java class name. So this Java class name starts with listener dot name, and we are going to use SASL mechanism, right? So SASL, and for the SASL mechanism, we are going to use this SCRAM mechanism, right? So SCRAM hyphen SHA hyphen 512. So this Java class name actually uses a service called SASL.JAAS. This means Java Authentication and Authorization Service, and this service needs a parameter called config. And this config for this config we need to pass a module called Apache Kafka common security SCRAM module, SCRAM login module. And this module requires two inputs. The first one is username. So for this username we need to pass the user that we created already, so which is broker admin. And then this module accepts needs one more this one okay, so this module also needs one more input called password. So we need to type the password. So we created this user with the password DEM123, right? So DEM123. And after you finished passing the parameters, please make sure that you end this property by means of a semicolon. Okay, so we are passing, so in order to pass the broker credential, we have to use a Java class name, that is listener.name.sasl SCRAM SHA512. And this Java class name, this Java class uses a service called Java Authentication and Authorization Service, which needs a parameter called config. And for this config, we need to pass a module called org Apache Kafka common security SCRAM login module. And this module accepts two parameters, username and password. Okay, and one more important property is whatever credential that you are using for a broker, you need to make sure that you are making this credential as a super user. So the reason is a super user is nothing but a user which has the most powerful access. That is, this super user can access all the resources of a Kafka, like topics, partitions, whatever it is. Okay, and the reason why we are making the broker credential as a super user is so imagine that whenever imagine there is a partition inside this broker, and this partition needs to be replicated to another broker. This means these two brokers needs to communicate with each other, right? So this communication is possible only when we make the only when the broker credential is a super user. So in order to make the broker credential as a super user, we need to make sure we add this parameter. So that is super.users, and then we need to pass a parameter called user, because this broker credential is nothing but a user principal, right? So we created this broker credential as a user, right? So as I said earlier, there are a lot of principles like user, group, and so on. So we created a principal called user. So hence the reason, that's the reason why we need to make sure that we pass the parameter user, and then we give this broker admin. In case if you want to make more than one user as the super user, just you can add the second one as by means of a semicolon, colon separated list. Okay, fine. So we are almost done with all the SASL related properties. Now we have to add one more property for the authorization. So just one more property. So we have to use add a Java class name, authorizer not class name, which is Java implementation. Java implementation for implementing authorization. Kafka security authorizer dot ACL authorizer. Fine. I think we're almost done. So I'll just try to quickly summarize what we did. So first we changed the security interbroker protocol from SSL to SASL_SSL, and then we disabled all the client-side SSL authentications, and then we enabled SASL on this broker by changing the listeners and the advertised listeners properties, and then we added some properties specifically for the SASL, like list of mechanisms to be enabled, and also the mechanism that is going to be used while connecting to other brokers, and also a property for passing the broker credentials. And we make sure that we make this broker credential as a super user. And finally, we added one Java implementation for the authorization. Okay, so I think we are almost done. Now I'm going to start this broker. Let me open a separate file. I'm in separate terminal. I'm just going inside this config. So for this purpose, we have to use this Kafka server start application. So I'm going to run in the background. So daemon, so server 0 dot properties. Fine. So let me see whether my broker is started or not. Oops. I think there must be some issue starting this broker. So let me try once again. Brokers IDs, because sometimes the broker might take a bit long to start. Okay, I think definitely there must be some issue. So let us go to this logs section and open this server.log. Okay, you could see there is some issue. So fatal error during Kafka server startup. So it says like could not find a Kafka server or SASL SSL stuff. Okay, so it says like it could not find something like SASL SSL in the JAS configuration, but I think we gave JAS. So I think listener.name SASL. Okay. So I think it should be like SASL underscore SSL. So now it's clear. So let me start this Kafka broker once again. Hopefully it should be fine now. So let us go to the log and see. I think there is issue again. So it says like value not specified for key in this config file. Okay, there is something else. I think I missed a code here. So let me start it again. Let's see what it says now. So it should be fine now. So let me see whether the brokers are started. So I think still there is some issue. Okay, now the logs are refreshed. Okay, seems to be some issue. Unable to find login module class. SCRAM login module. So it says like issue in this area. So it's not able to find this module. So 𝑜𝑟.apache.kafka common security. Okay, I think there should be something like this scram login module. Okay, let's check our luck now. So I started the broker. So let me see at least now the brokers have started or not. Finally, the broker is started. So let me cross verify the logs. Okay, so I now see the broker started without any issues. So let me close this log. And also, okay, now we are going to start the other two brokers, but first we need to configure the other two brokers just like how we did for this broker. So now I finished changing the configurations for our other two brokers as well. So if you see, I added the SASL properties, and also I changed the properties here and also in the listeners. So the first broker is running on the port 9092, whereas these two brokers are running on 9093, and then the last one is on 9094. So let me start the other two brokers as well. So Kafka1 properties and server2 properties. I hope everything should be fine. So let me close this window. So you could now see all the three brokers started without any issues. So we finished configuring the brokers for SASL authentication. So now I'll try to explain how this SASL authentication is actually working between these brokers. So imagine now this broker 0 is making a connection request to this broker 1. Okay. So let me go to this section. Okay. So now, in this case, the broker 0 is actually the client and the broker 1 is actually the server, because broker 0 is trying to make a connection request to broker 1. So this is the client and this is the server. So how this authentication will work is, first the server side authentication will happen. So what will happen is, this broker 1 will expose its key store. Okay, so it will expose its key store to broker 0. So broker 0 will check whether the certificates present inside this key store are also available in its trust store. Okay, so if it's available, then broker 0 will authenticate broker 1, that is the client will authenticate the server. So the server authentication is done. Now uh, for broker 0 to authenticate itself to broker 1, what it will do is it will pass its SASL credential. Okay, so it will pass its SASL credential to the broker 1. So previously, when we were using only SSL for authentication also, what will happen is, just like the server, the client, that is in this case broker 0, will also provide its key store, and the server will verify by its trust store. But now this will not happen anymore. Only the server will do this SSL authentication, but now the client, which in our case broker 0, will provide the SASL credential and will authenticate itself. So this is how the SASL authentication will be happening. So all the client side authentication will be happening by means of SASL, and the server side authentication will be happening by means of SSL, and all the communications between them will be encrypted by means of TLS version 1.2, that is SSL protocol. So this is how SASL authentication works in brokers. Now we will proceed to implement this SASL authentication inside our producers and consumers. So for our implementation, I'm going to use this Kafka console producer and then Kafka console consumer. So first is just opening one more console here. So we need to create a credential, SASL credential, that is a username and password for both our producers and consumers. So first what I'm going to do is, just like how we created this credential for the brokers, we also need to create for the producers and consumers. So we need to use this shell application called Kafka configs, right? So Kafka configs.sh. So it is a 𝐄𝐶keeper client application. So we need to connect to the 𝐄𝐶keeper. So 𝐄𝐶keeper is running in localhost 2182, and then we need to pass the parameter for SSL, which is 𝐄𝐶keeper TLS config file, and then the 𝐄𝐶keeper client properties, which is inside this config folder and this 𝐄𝐶keeper client. So config 𝐄𝐶keeper client or properties, and then we need to add a user. So the entity type, so it's 2 hyphen entity type, which is users, and then we have to give a name to the user. So let us call again, I think I missed a hyphen, so it's 2 hyphen. So let us call our producer as first producer, and then, or even simply like SASL producer, and then we need to add a password, which is a configuration. So we need to add a parameter alter add config. So we are going to add a SCRAM password. So SCRAM SHA 512, and then we need to pass a parameter called password. So let me use the same password just for simplicity. Okay, D123. So or call it as D1234. Okay. So, and then I have to close this quotation. So I think I missed a D here. So I think everything should be fine. So let me execute it. So now a principal that is of type user, which is SASL producer, is created. So we created our producer. Similarly, we'll create one more user for our consumer. So I'm just going to repeat this statement and let me call it as SASL consumer, and let me use the same password just for simplicity. Okay. So now my consumer is also created. So now I'm going to produce to a topic and also consume from the same topic using these two credentials. Okay. So let me check what are the topics available on my Kafka cluster. So for this purpose, I need to use a shell application called Kafka topics.sh. So this is a 𝐄𝐚𝐭𝐚 client. So we need to pass a parameter called 𝐄𝐚𝐭𝐚, and remember that for this purpose we need to pass the non-secured port 2181, because Kafka topics cannot still connect to the 𝐄𝐚𝐭𝐚 by means of SSL. So our 𝐄𝐚𝐭𝐚 is also running on 2181 in a non-secured way without SSL. So we have to use this while executing Kafka topics application. I already explained about this thing in the last part of the series. Okay. So then we need to pass a parameter called list. So we can see some topics already there. So this thing is an internal topic where all the consumer offsets will be stored. So we have two topics, first topic and SSL topic. So let us try to produce to this SSL topic. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is for the producer and the consumer that we just created, I'm going to add some authorization. Okay. That is, I'm just going to make sure that only legitimate producers and consumers can write and read from this topic. Okay. So for this purpose, I need to use a shell application called Kafka ACLs. So this one. So this is also a 𝐄𝐚𝐭𝐚 client. So we are going to create some authorizations for these producers and consumers. Okay. So for this purpose, what I need to do is I have to execute this shell script Kafka ACLs, and then this is also a 𝐄𝐚𝐭𝐚 client. So we need to pass some parameters related to 𝐄𝐚𝐭𝐚. So we need to pass a parameter specifically for Kafka ACLs that is called as authorizer properties. So this authorizer properties has many values, but for our case we are going to use only one value, which is 𝐄𝐚 connect. So this 𝐄𝐚 connect is running on the local host, so on port 2182. So since this is a 𝐄𝐚 client, we need to connect to the 𝐄𝐚 by means of SSL, which means we need to pass the 𝐄𝐚 client properties file. So 𝐄𝐚 TLS config file. Please remember, I'm again using two hyphens in front of this parameter for also for Kafka ACLs. Okay. So I need to do config 𝐄𝐚 client properties, and then I need to add now, in order to add authorization for the producers or consumers, whoever it is, we need to add the property called ACL, that is access control list. So for this purpose, I need to pass a parameter called add. So I'm going to add an ACL. So my ACL is, I'm going to allow this user. So this user is a principal, right? So user is a type of principal, as I said already. So I'm going to say allow principal. So I'm going to allow this principal, and my principal is user, and this user's name is SASL producer. So I'm going to allow this user to write to this topic. Okay. So topic, my topic name is SSL topic. So I'm going to allow this producer to write to this topic. So in order for this producer to write to this topic, we need to provide authorization on this, write authorization on this topic. So for this purpose, we need to provide permissions for three operations. So the first operation is write, and the second operation is describe, and the third operation is describe configs. So you can, in general, if you want to add many more operations, you can add as many as you like just by using this parameter called operation. Okay, so as I said already, I'm creating an access control list. So this is for this purpose I'm going to use this shell application, which is a 𝐄𝐚𝐭𝐚 client application, and hence I'm connecting to the 𝐄𝐚𝐭𝐚 by means of SSL, and then I'm adding an access control list, which means I'm allowing this principal, that is this user, to write to this topic. So for writing to this topic, it has to have these three operations, permission for these three operations. So I'm going to execute it. So now you can see these ACLs are created. That is this principal, that is this user SASL producer can write, describe, as permissions for write, describe configs, and describe on this topic SSL topic. So similarly, for the consumer that we created, we need to make sure that we add these ACLs for the consumer such that the consumer can read from this topic. So for this purpose, I'm just going to copy until like this. Okay, let me clear the screen. So allow principal, which is nothing but user, and my user is SASL consumer, and then I'm going to provide two operations for the consumer to read from the topic. So the first operation is read, and the second operation is describe. Oops, I think there is some issue. Let me check what is the issue. Okay, I didn't specify the topic. Okay, let me so I have to specify the topic on which it has to have these operations, right? So it's topic SSL topic. So now the ACLs are created. So now this consumer this consumer can read and describe from this topic. So this area lists all the ACLs that are available for this topic. So for this topic, this producer can this producer is having operations write, describe, and describe configs, and this consumer is having operation read and describe. So now we have created the accesses, but we still have to create one more access. So any consumer wants to read from a topic also have to specify a consumer group, right? So in order to use a consumer group for this consumer, we need to make sure that we are allowed to use the consumer group that we want for this consumer. So for this purpose, we need to create one more access control list, so which is Kafka, almost the same thing. So until this consumer, and then we need to add a property called group. So let us call our consumer group as SASL consumer, and then this consumer should have access for this group, which and the type of access is read. So operation read. So now on this group, this consumer has access. So we can use this consumer group while consuming from the topic. So now let us start configuring our producers and consumers. So for this purpose, I'm going to use these two property files, that is consumer.properties and producer.properties. So consumer.properties and then producer.properties. So first producer.properties. So let me open a new window just for my convenience. Okay. So the first one, we need to make sure that we have the entries for the bootstrap servers, and then these are the properties that we added for SSL. So the security protocol is going to be SASL_SSL, and then SSL protocol is going to be TLS version 1.2. So when I say SASL_SSL, this means this producer, when it tries to connect to the Kafka, that is the Kafka brokers, it is going to pass its SASL credential, and all the communication between them will be happening by means of SSL. Okay, And then we have these entries, right? Trust store and key store. Now we are not going to use key store anymore. This is because, as I said just now, this producer, when it tries to connect to the broker, it will provide its SASL credential. Okay, I mean the client side authentication. So when the broker, how it tries to authenticate to this producer is, for example, this broker, it will expose its key store. Okay, and then the producer will check whether the key store certificates are present in its trust store. So only the SASL part and the trust store will be used for the producers and the consumers. So we can simply disable all the key store related properties. So they will not be used anymore. Okay. So now we have these three properties, like bootstrap service is already there, and security protocol, SSL protocol. We have disabled the key store, and now since we have enabled SASL, we need to make sure that we had the SASL mechanisms. Okay, so SASL mechanism is equal to SCRAM SHA 512, because we created the credential using this mechanism. And then we need to add the credential that we created. So for this purpose we need to add something like this. So of course we don't need this thing, and we are going to use only the this service SASL Java Authentication Authorization service. Okay, so we created the user for this producer as SASL producer, and then the password we gave it as DM1234. So now we configured our producer. Let me start the producer. So Kafka console producer .sh. So we need to pass a parameter called broker list. So it is always safe to give at least 2 brokers, 9092 localhost 9093. And then we are going to write to the topic called SSL topic, and then we are going to pass the parameter in this property file. So for this purpose, producer.config and then producer.properties. So I've already explained how this command works in my previous videos of the series, so I'm not going to give the explanation again. So I'm just going to execute this command. So I think the producer has started. So let me type hello SASL. So we successfully produced one message. So now let us try to consume this message by means of our consumer. So let me also configure the consumer. So consumer, we already have this bootstrap server. So let us leave it as it is. So group ID, we just created this group, right? That is SASL consumer. So let us say this as SASL consumer. Let me open a separate window. And then security protocol, we are going to rename as SASL_SSL. So just like the producer, this consumer is also going to use SASL while connecting to the brokers for reading the topic, and all the communication will be happening by means of SSL, that using this protocol TLS version 1.2. And similarly, we can disable the key stores. So key stores will not be used anymore. And now we have to add 2 property, just like for the producer. I'm just going to copy these things. So let me copy. So the username for the consumer is consumer, and password is the same that we gave. Okay, so now we finished configuring the consumer. So let me start this consumer. Kafka console consumer reset. So bootstrap servers. So localhost 9092, localhost 9093, and then we are going to consume from the topic SSL topic and consumer.config. So this property file consumer dot properties, and then we want to consume from the beginning. So let us pass this parameter from beginning. So our consumer has started, and then it also consumed this message. Okay. So in case if you haven't created this access control list, then probably these producers, like will not be able to write or read from this topic, because do you remember that in all our brokers we added this property. So whenever you add this property, this means definitely the producer or consumer which is trying to read and write from the topic should be having all the necessary access. So if you haven't created the accesses, your producers and consumers can never read or write from the topic, just because we specified this property in the brokers. Okay, so this means authorization is a must. So that's what this property is signifying. Okay, so let me say like this: hello, how are you? So our consumer is able to consume. So our producers and consumers are working without any issues. So with this, we have come to the end of today's discussion. So let me try to summarize what we discussed today. So first we saw why actually SASL authentication is necessary in Apache Kafka, and then we also saw what is SASL authentication, and also we saw very high level information about SASL SCRAM. And then I briefly explained where I'm going to implement SASL authentication in my Kafka architecture. And then we also saw what is authorization and why it is needed in Apache Kafka. And then we implemented all these things practically. So what we did practically is, first we implemented all the SASL related properties inside our Kafka brokers. So these things, and then we started our Kafka brokers, and we also tried to implement these things in our producers and consumers accordingly. For the producers and consumers, we created users, and then we also created the necessary authorization by using access control list. So these things. So with this stuff, we finished, we successfully implemented SASL authentication inside our Kafka cluster. With this video, we have come to the end of security in Apache Kafka. So as far as security is concerned, we discussed what is security and why we need security in Apache Kafka. And also we saw different forms of security like encryption, authentication, and authorization. In this context, we also discussed what is SSL security, what is SASL authentication, and then we also saw authorization by means of access control list. So if you would like to revisit security in Apache Kafka, then please check the third part, fourth part of the series along with this video. In case if you have any questions related to this video or related to security in general, please feel free to mention them in the comment section, and I will try to respond to them as soon as possible. So in the upcoming days, I'm going to explain how to create a simple producer and a simple consumer application using either Python or Scala. And also I'm going to explain what is Kafka Connect and how you can produce and consume messages to Kafka using Kafka Connect. Also, I will explain how to monitor your Kafka clusters. So if you would like to learn these things, please stay tuned with my channel. So I will see you in the next video. And until then, I wish you once again great luck in your Kafka journey. So see you guys.